Knee pain. Why do we get it? And more importantly, what can we do about it? Hey everyone, so I did a post on my Instagram not too long ago about knee pain and it got a lot of attention. Some people had some questions, so I thought I'd make this video as a little bit of a deep dive and to try and help people that are experiencing knee pain. So knee pain is a really common issue that I see with a lot of people inside and outside of the gym of all levels, ages, sports, different backgrounds. But for something so common, I don't see a lot of quality advice on how to treat it. A lot of people believe that it's inevitable, that your joints will suffer if you do a lot of activity or certain activities, or just as you get older, your joints will break down. It's something you have to deal with. But I really dislike that thought. So I personally pursued as much information as I could and learned a lot about treating knee pain through personal experience with the clients I see here in the gym, and also by reviewing some of the most recent literature. So I myself has been experiencing knee pain from varying degrees since around the age of 14. And right now I can say that my knees are the best they have ever been. I'm doing a lot of running and fairly high impact training with no issues. I'm not playing basketball as much as I was, but I'm confident that with a period of training and focusing on the steps I will lay out for you, that I could transition into any sport and mitigate my knee pain. So how do we address knee pain? Well, it really comes down to three factors. Number one is your mobility, particularly the range of motion at your hip and your ankle, which will also affect your biomechanics of like your running, squatting, moving, etc. Number two is your strength and the balance of your musculature. And number three is the frequency and the amount that you load your knees. I will say alongside these factors, adequate sleep, good nutrition and hydration play a big role in reducing inflammation throughout the body, and therefore will have benefits in overcoming pain. However, for this video, I will just be focusing on those three that I just mentioned that have the most direct impact on knee pain. So diving straight into it, the first factor is mobility. As I said, particularly at the hip and the ankle. This is because your knee joint is quite simple. It's a hinge joint, it flexes and extends, whereas your hip and your ankle are ball and socket joints, so they move in multiple directions. But if they are stiff, then they put a lot of pressure on the knee to move in directions that it's just simply not designed to do. So to improve your hip and your ankle mobility, well, the first thing is getting up out of your seated position more often and spending more time barefoot or outside of your shoes that are that fix the ankle into set positions. But I'll give you two quick tests to check your range of motion, and then also a move that will help improve it. So the first one is the wall dorsiflexion test. So I'll show you this one quickly here. What we're looking for here is to drive the knee forward so that it touches the wall and without that the heel rising at the back. Your goal is to get about a hand's width, so palm and your thumb from the wall without the back heel rising, and for both to be equal. Okay, the second test is what we call the Faber test. It's a test of your hip mobility. So you're lying face up in this figure 4 position, and you want the knee to come out to the side and get as low to the ground as possible. So if you're sort of above a hand's width from the floor, then you could do with working on your hip mobility. Okay, one move that is really simple, anyone can do, and it will work both the groin and the ankle, is the combat stretch. So I'll show you this one quickly here. You can also add weight to this one to help you get into that position to load it a little bit. And If you are getting pinching around the front of the ankle, you can use a band, a resistance band at the base of the foot to distract that stretch and help the foot glide under easy. So yeah, 2 quick tests, the Dorsi wall test and the Faber test, and then 1 mobility move, the combat stretch. The second factor is strength, and particularly the balance of your musculature. So we want symmetry front to back, top to bottom, and left to right. A lot of people are lacking in posterior strength, so that's strengthening your hamstrings, your glutes, your lower back. Often that's because we're seated a lot, and we're naturally anterior dominant in a lot of the sports we do, like cycling, running, works the quads a lot more than we will work in the hamstrings. So things that you can do: deadlifts, hamstring curls, and back extensions. All great moves to strengthen the posterior chain. The hamstring is also, like, I like to refer to it as the braking system. So in sport, if you're running really fast or jumping really high, it's not that movement that actually creates injury and pain. It's the landing and it's the slowing down suddenly, which puts a lot of pressure onto your knee. If you don't have the hamstring strength to control it and the hip stability to mediate that force. So yeah, working those into your routine. The other muscle is the VMO, so the vastus medialis oblique. It's the teardrop muscle that runs on the inside of your quadricep, so on the inside of your knee. And this helps the tracking of the patella. So your kneecap should be gliding nice and smooth and straight during exercise. But if you have a weak VMO, it could be pulled towards one side or the other. So we want to strengthen that. The VMO does the first 15 degrees of motion at the knee. So think the lockout position and just as you initiate movement. So a good exercise that you can use to strengthen your VMO is step-ups, side step-up. Set the step to about mid-shin and then start flat-footed, and then you can raise the heel as a progression, and then even harder is raising the heel without anything supporting it underneath. Okay, so those are few exercises that you can incorporate into your routines to help improve your strength and the balance of your musculature around your knee to help support it. The final factor is the amount of load and the frequency that you put load through your knee. A lot of people will get pain in the front of the knee, just below the kneecap, from high impact or dynamic movements. And if you don't get it during exercise, you might get that stiffness and soreness 24 hours later, sort of the day after. This can be referred to as jumper's knee or runner's knee. In academic literature, it's called patellofemoral pain or patellar tendinopathy. Your tendons are tissues that connect the muscle to the bone, and they're used in like spring-like loading. They stretch and compress and give you bounce off of the ground. So if you want to know the impact of tendons, try running in soft sand, and you'll find it's really difficult because of your tendons don't have a hard surface to spring off of. So when you're running in sand, you're not using your tendons as much and it's all muscle. You burn out really quickly. So it's also why athletes shouldn't always train in sand if they play their sport on solid ground. But anyway, tendons have a capability to take tremendous force, and studies haven't actually found a quantifiable limit to the amount that they can tolerate. However, they do need to be strengthened, just like muscles, into building up to that load. Tendons are very sensitive to volume. They respond better to shorter, more frequent amounts of loading. So a safe place to start is with an isometric hold. So 2 exercises that work the patellar tendon are a 45-second single leg extension hold and a Spanish squat. These were tested by Jill Cook, one of the leading professors in investigating patellar tendinopathy. She found that 5 sets of single leg extension holds for 45 seconds not only strengthens the patella, but it actually has an analgesic effect, meaning it reduces pain for roughly 45 minutes after. So it's a great one to start your session with, and it may allow you to focus on other exercises without pain. Once you've done isometric loading, the next step is to introduce eccentrics. So with the single leg extension, you can just use it for 2 feet on the way up, 1 leg controlling the way down. Okay, so after that, then you can start to incorporate some basic spring-like loading, things like a step up with a small bounce. If you want to know lots of different progressions of plyometrics, then Paul Favorites has a great video. He's a strength and conditioning coach. I'll provide a link below on the different progressions you can use, and I would suggest that you follow the scale so you're gradually building up to more dynamic, higher impact movements. So the key is building your tolerance gradually. I often fell victim to thinking that I needed complete rest, and when I did take time off from sport, I wouldn't get the pain, but my tendons would get weaker, and then when I returned, I would get the same pain, sometimes worse. So whatever amount you're doing that is causing the pain, I want you to scale back. So this could be the amount of practice time or the length of your workouts. And the way to check this is, do you experience pain 24 hours after? And is it better or is it worse? Then start to add in those exercises that I mentioned. And if you get pain, scale. If you get no pain, scale up. If you do get pain, draw it back a little bit, okay? So the final thing I did mention, nutrition and hydration, is also a little bit of research and evidence for certain supplements that can help. So some studies have had success using collagen and gelatin alongside vitamin C to support your joint and tendon health. For this, I would suggest taking it 20 minutes prior to exercise. And that's basically all my advice, everything I've learned on knee pain. I didn't say it would be easy. It takes consistency and a lot of effort to build durable joints. But if you do look after them and think about those 3 aspects, there's no reason why you won't be able to do all the things that you want, and your joints will last you forever. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that video. Hope it gave you some useful information. If you do know someone that also would enjoy the video, please do share, send it around. And if there's anything that I hadn't touched on that you wanted to know some more about, please just leave a comment in on the video or message me directly. If you're looking for ways to integrate some of these exercises into a routine, reach out to me and I can help you do that. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Hope you enjoy. Bye.